Due to the new COVID variants, cases have been on the rise ever since they've arrived in America. Here in New Jersey, on a statewide level, we have a very high risk for COVID. And when there's a rise in cases. And due to that rise, people have to be quarantined, especially in schools, including ACIT. Now at home, students attend their classes by Chromebook, the same way that we did in 2021. We spoke to people at ACIT and asked them what they think about virtual learning in quarantine.
I definitely think it is difficult because the only virtual option that we have this year is if you're out on quarantine, right? So either you tested positive or someone in your family tested positive. Somehow you've been contacted with COVID, right? So if you think about it, you're out because you're sick, right? So it's hard to balance like, oh, I got to log into my classes, but also I'm so tired and I'm sick, right? So I think that's a very hard balance that we have.
Not only did Ms. Pickett shed light on reality for students in quarantine, but she also shed light on guidance counselors and how COVID has changed some of the ways they do their job.
I think that the COVID is just now an added part of now my job description. You know what I mean? I kind of play the middleman of like someone comes to me that they have this issue and I have to pass it to whoever it needs to go to. So yeah, it definitely has, I guess, changed my role a little.
We see how COVID has affected the jobs of guidance counselors and their perspective on virtual learning. But what about the students? How do they perceive their own quarantine experience?
It was okay at first. The only thing that was bad about it was my younger siblings. Every time they'd see me, they'd run away. And overall, it was just as last year. Stayed home, woke up, went to class, and repeat. Learning was okay for most classes. Like my teacher, he decided to write his notes online instead of having them on the board so that we could adjust to it. But one of my teachers didn't do that, and I didn't learn a thing the whole time I was quarantined.
Personal perks of virtual learning aside, most students and faculty would agree that the quarantine classroom falls short of what students can achieve in the real classroom. That's all we have for today, and as a reminder, wear your mask at all times and try to maintain social distance to avoid the quarantine life. This has been a story from Brian Uccellini for The Pursuit and Red Hawk News. And remember, Red Hawks, pursue what you love.